If you were to speak to a Neverness to Everness player right now, asking them who is winning the 1.2 patch, almost everyone would mention the same name: Shinku, the Dragon Girl. However, I think they're wrong. DPS characters are honestly hype machines. They are also usually quite easy to understand. They either lead to bigger numbers or faster clears. If anything, we can all agree that they are usually quite the attention-grabbing units. If the past has taught us anything about gacha games, however, is that the flashiest character isn't always the one that turns out to be the most valuable. We all know it, and we really cannot run away from it. DPS units have an expiry date. It may not happen immediately, maybe not even 6 months from now. The quiet support in the corner, focusing on keeping everyone alive, or just buffing the overall team damage. That is the unit that no one talks about. They don't get much of the attention because they don't lead to damage screenshots. That is why I believe Eroi might secretly be the bigger winner of patch 1.2. But if that's true, then what exactly makes Eroi different from every other support we've actually seen? It certainly isn't because she will somehow deal more damage than Shinku, or will all of a sudden turn into the strongest character in the game. It is merely a value proposition that many just do not consider until it literally hits them. Let's get one thing out of the way first. Shinku looks incredible. Her kit is also one that screams premium DPS. What's clear with the little information we have is this: she has an aggressive playstyle, a melee playstyle that is also fast-paced. Then there's the transformation. She honestly is everything you would expect from a headline banner. To top things off, she's a Cosmos unit. This will drive some people away from her due to the sheer number of cosmic units we already have. However, it cannot be denied that Cosmos is one of the strongest elements we have right now, not only because of the units involved in it, but because of the team archetype the element is a part of. Yes, I am referring to the charged team. So yes, Shinku is poised to become an amazing DPS in 1.2, which makes sense why people want her so bad. In the livestream, she was played as part of the charged team and also possesses cycle enhancement for the charged reaction. Shinku's kit naturally supports charged teams. She does this by improving energy generation across the entire party, giving her a strong synergy with one of the game's best archetypes. So look, if you're trying to clear endgame faster, Shinku is probably the one for you. If you're somehow missing a DPS, she will probably be incredible. If you are like me and like the character design and that's all that matters to you, then by all means, pull for Shinku. Shinku absolutely has the potential to be an amazing DPS, and if you are looking at day one, Shinku wins. But wait, that's not the question I'm asking here now, is it? To have her become the winner of this patch, she would have to do something that most damage dealers fail to do, which is evade their countdown timer. But eventually, another DPS comes along with higher multipliers, a stronger mechanic, or even a completely new gimmick. We've seen this happen multiple times. Supports don't usually follow this trend, as their benefit is not the screenshot damage, but on the utility they offer. Healing and buffing. These are not mechanics that can be replaced so easily. This is the reason my head keeps turning to look past Shinku but towards Eroi. Be honest. When was the last time a healer actually excited you? You see, supports have an image problem, and this is one of the main reasons they are often so underestimated. When you look at a DPS release, the question is usually a simple one: how much damage do they do? Then their value can instantly be attached to such and measurable. But with supports, the question to ask is not so easily defined by just numbers. Will we measure them by how much damage their buff results in? How much healing they do? Will we apply some arbitrary value to their survivability? Or will we consider how much smoother the rotation becomes with them on the team? See, These aren't questions that can be answered with a simple screenshot. This is exactly why people always underestimate support characters, especially during the pre-release stage and discussions. Then, a few months later, everyone starts noticing something. Every team they use seems to have the same units. You can no longer imagine playing the game without them in your team. This is a pattern we have seen all too often. The supports survive. That's why I believe it is dangerous to judge Eroi purely based on her initial outlook and perception. Her job is to make the entire team stronger. Now, everything I've said so far is actually just setting up one point. Because I don't think Eroi is simply a good support. I think she was designed for two of the strongest archetypes in the game, and that was intentional. As of right now, Blossom is arguably one of the most fleshed out archetypes in Neverness to Everness. The team has the most premium characters in the way of Nanali, Zero, Hotori, and Jiyuan. There are clear synergies here, with already well-established rotations and gameplay. And then, suddenly, a wild Eroi appears. On paper, she fits into this team quite easily, as she is an anima character. She can react with Cosmos to trigger Blossom reactions, meaning she is another option to use in the Blossom team we already have. That's one DPS she can work with, being Nanali, but we also cannot forget Shinku. It is by no coincidence that Eroi is launching just after Shinku. They even used them together in the charge team for the showcase. This is the second archetype that Eroi will slot right into. Now that is a comfortable state to launch into. Then there's her actual kit. There's healing, survivability, regression, and even resurrection. This actually changes the team fundamentally, as it keeps offensive teams offensive, leaving all the survivability to Eroi. We can't deny that the current Blossom team, for an example, is incredibly offensive. However, it can be incredibly fragile. Dealing a lot of damage is great and all, until you actually die. Eroi reduces the number of resets you will be required to do. Suddenly, endgame content will become more forgiving. Not forgetting that she also buffs damage. She also gives you quality of life. But none of that is actually why I think she'll age well. There's one passive hidden in a kit that I think people are massively underestimating. The passive she has is strategically placed. She could have had a passive for charged as well, just like Shinku. However, they gave her a passive for Blossom, which works for both Nanali and potential Shinku teams. This is the most interesting thing in her kit, the refreshing Vita Buds. Refreshing Vita Buds sounds small until you realize that it fundamentally changes Blossom uptime. This has potential to be the one mechanic that defines her. Instead of just creating more Vita Buds, she refreshes them to keep them going. This has the potential to ensure a more sustained Blossom damage rotation. We all know Jiyuan increases the ceiling of Vita Buds, with Eroi increasing the consistency of Vita Buds. Now, here's the question everyone keeps asking. Does she actually replace Jiyuan? I actually think this is the wrong question to ask. And this is probably the biggest talking point against Eroi. And if I'm being honest, even I cannot answer this question by giving a yes or a no. Jiyuan is a good sub-DPS unit. And as I had said earlier, she increases the ceiling in the Blossom teams, which also contributes to more energy as a result of charged. The increase in Vita Bud capacity is a significant contribution to Blossom and charged teams. She also contributes an unignorable amount of personal damage as well. Her grouping abilities also open up a path for burst windows as a result of that grouping. Those are some tough shoes to fill in if you're coming in as the new anima unit, and many have found themselves asking, why do I need to replace Jiyuan? Why would I even feel the need to do such a thing? The answer is stability. If you're looking to improve stability, one can argue for swapping Jiyuan out for the Eroi in Blossom teams. Then there's the charge team. I can't help but assume that Eroi was tailor-made for Shinku. But I'm not here to put on a tinfoil hat. Every Blossom character is another chance for Eroi to become even more valuable. And this is the part I think most people are actually missing, which is the flexibility. 2 months ago, everyone was talking about Nalali. Tomorrow, we might get another Premium Blossom DPS. Maybe another Cosmos DPS. Please, no. Perhaps further elemental interactions between 3 more elements. The point I'm trying to get to is this. Eroi already has survivability going for her. She has the refreshing Vita Buds and the buffs she provides. If future units bring out more Blossom enhancement passives, or even charged passive enhancements, Eroi's value increases even further. Patch 1.2 will probably go down as the Shinku patch. She's the face of the update, the character everyone wants, including myself. She will obviously deal a lot of damage and be a monster in terms of damage. But when I look beyond, I keep coming back to Eroi. I also know that people are wondering if she just knocks Jiyuan completely out of the competition. This isn't something we can know just yet. In fact, that's besides the entire point I'm trying to make here. Because even if she doesn't replace Jiyuan entirely, she creates new options and new teams. The characters who quietly make everyone else better often end up with longevity. 6 months from now, people probably won't remember 1.2 as the Shinku patch. They'll remember it as the patch that quietly introduced one of the game's defining supports. Whether that turns out to be true, only time will tell. But history tells us to never underestimate the support. And if you've been wondering why Zero seems to be in every team, and how the latest releases have only managed to skyrocket his value, the video in the end screen is just the right one for you. Until the next time, I will see you in Hetheryu.